Chesney and Jason Aldean, Ohio, and Hawaii.
The aerospace kind of ran that out.
Oh, that's the last one too.
Bid tickets are stupid.
Sure, because it's a retirement fee.
I think it's on the side.
Not turning the mic on. Turning the mic on.
On the side. Now you can talk. Call to order the Vermilion County Council meeting for May. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Somerville. Here. Ms. Brown. Here. Mr. James and present. Mr. Weir.
Here.
Mr. Bose.
Here.
And Mr. Brown.
Here.
Thank you. The first item we have is approval of minutes. We have our minutes from our April 10th, 2023 meeting. Is there any additions, corrections, or comments regarding the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for April the 10th, 2023.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. I have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Mr. Bose, to approve the council meeting minutes from April 10th, 2023. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Minutes are approved. You have next is your April 23 interest report from the treasurer. Are there any questions regarding this report? No? All right. Moving along, we have transfer of funds. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 reporting only. Are there any questions with the reporting only? There is great information we have. We do have a transfer of funds that requires a vote this evening. It is from the Surveyor's Department. He is requesting to move $1,485.03 from the travel into equipment repair, maintenance repair on the GPUs by the surveyor, change fluid filters, change sensors, brake repair, and trailer hitch.
Kind of his budget.
Yeah, he's moving it from travel to repairs.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion from Mr. Brown and a second from Mr. Costello. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Transfer is approved. And that is the end of transfers. And we do not have any additional appropriations this evening. So our next item will be new business. It's the international paper abatement. And I believe we have some guests here this evening. Yep, whoever wants to speak, if you'll just come up here for us, make sure we can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Todd Churchward. I'm with Baden Tax Management. We're tax advisors for International Paper. And I have with me tonight several people. I have my colleague Mark Rittenhouse, and then from International Paper I have Glenn McCrae, mill manager. I have Krista Farthing, mill communications director. I have Michael Savage, the mill capital manager. I have Lori Wyckoff, the mill controller. Rusty Akers, the HR manager, and Gretchen Spear, manager for government relations. So I'm here to simply introduce the project and introduce the people, and then I will turn it over to Mr. McCray and Mr. Savage to answer any questions specifically related to the mill operations or to this particular project.
Okay, thank you.
So this project that we're requesting abatement on is a $29 million approximate project. The investment is to upgrade the paper machine, which essentially is the heart and soul of the mill. The paper machine's drives and controls are out of date and obsolete. In order for this mill to remain viable for the long term, the investment needs to be made, and that is the primary investment. There's also some improvements to other miscellaneous aspects of the mill. This will help keep the mill viable. This is a retention abatement again, it's a $29.2 million investment to retain 178 positions with a total annual payroll of about $13.8 million. So, questions about the mill or capital projects, again, we could direct to Mr. Savage or Mr. McCray.
Just have one question. Does the mill plan to be in that location for many more years to come? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Does the reason I ask is I guess Duke Energy Cayuga Power Station will be closing at some point. Do they provide steam to the plant? Does that affect anything, or can you make up for that in other ways?
That's correct. They provide steam to us and electricity. So they'll no longer be providing steam in 2028. And we're investigating alternate sources of steam for the mill. The mill is profitable. It's a key part of IP's business. The grades that we manufacture here at Newport cannot be manufactured at other national paper facilities, and we fully intend to stay in business here for long.
Thank you.
That's always nice to hear.
How many jobs are there?
178 jobs, 13.8 million annual payroll.
Yeah.
Do they plan to extend those jobs to other, increase it?
Right now, there isn't a plan to increase the jobs. However, in past abatements in the 2009, there were 2 abatements previously granted, one in 2009 and one in 2010, I believe. Those were both retention-only abatements at the time. At that time, they had about roughly 140 employees. They did not make any commitments at that time to expand jobs, but as you can see, the jobs have increased, by nearly 40 positions since that time.
Does this require a shutdown or an outage to create this new, will be people like without jobs for a certain amount of time, or is it an expansion to?
The project of the drives will be completed during our annual outage. We shut the mill down once a year for a number of days. I believe the outage this fall is scheduled for 13 days, and then next year I believe we're scheduled somewhere around 15 days. So the full completion of the project, there's phase 1 that happens in this year and phase 2 that happens in 2020. But those will be, those installations will occur during our normal scheduled annual outings that we take each year. Our employees actually work through the outage. They continue to receive.
Probably pretty tight schedule then, make everything happen just on time. Very busy at that point.
For your notes, it would be resolution number 2023-04. If you put them.
You say 04?
Yes, it'll be 04. They're asking for the 10-year abatement, which is declining. it would require approval tonight, and then again at our next meeting for their finalization.
With this, we will pay the same amount of taxes to the county as you normally do. This would be the abatement on the new sub.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
just for clarity's sake, on the tax abatements, the current tax liability on the assets that exist remain unchanged with the tax abatement. So any incremental investment adds to the annual tax liability. With the tax abatement, with the phase-in, that tax liability increase will phase in over a period of, over the 10-year period. And also with the mill, it's a very obviously long-lived asset, so
Right.
the investments remain in place for decades, actually. So.
Not that it matters, but how many of your employees live in this county? Just curious, I mean.
In Vermillion County,
Yes, sir.
I would say 55%.
How long's the mill been there? It's been as long as I can remember. I'm 49, so it's just been,
1970,
yeah.
35. Started out 350 tons a day and upgraded to that 909 we steadily increased production.
What's the product? I mean, I understand sort of, but not
It's we're a paper mill.
just
Our-
rolls.
Most of our product are gypsum paper, comes off the rolls. Gypsum is used to make drywall,
Sure.
inside and outside. Sheet of the drywall is gypsum paper, and then that 25% is a lineboard product, that has a white top to it. And then they can also make two other grades, just regular brown linerboard and medium that goes into corrugated containers.
So both are very marketable products to the world.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Brown, second from Mr. Costello to approve resolution number 2023-04 for our International Paper Company and a 10-year personal property tax abatement. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no. The resolution is approved for this evening. It'll also be back at our next meeting for the final approval.
And there will be a notice published.
Thank you.
Yeah, there'll be a notice and
A public hearing will be had.
we'll consider in the next meeting the public hearing. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting the county too.
Guys.
Alright. Alright, our next item on new business is the Vermillion County Economic Coalition Resolution. This is the follow-up resolution that we have drafted in response to our joint meeting that we had between council commissioners, county commissioners, economic development, and Economic Development Commission. This would be County Resolution number 2023-05. And it will be a joint resolution creating the Vermillion County Economic Development Coalition. This is setting the guidelines for the department. We can pass it this evening and then send it to the commissioners for their approval as well.
I'm on board.
Is there any questions?
No.
It's a lot of things we talked about at the meeting, but happy to answer anything. Is that a motion then?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Somerville.
Second.
Second from Ms. Brown. Any further discussion? All right, with no discussion? Yes. All those in, I have a motion from Mr. Somerville, a second from Ms. Brown to approve the county resolution number 2023-05, joint resolution creating the Vermillion County Economic Development Coalition. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no. Resolution is approved for the council. All right, that is the end of our new business this evening. Under old business, we have the cumulative fund reestablishment, reestablishing the cumulative bridge fund rate and the cumulative capital development fund rate. We talked about these at our last meeting. We have advertised them, but we do have the option to do something, nothing, to table it. We were under deadlines, so we at least advertised it for the sake of having it available if needed.
This is a public hearing, so if you want to open it to the floor first for any public comment, you might want to do that.
Okay.
It's closed in your public hearing, and then
All right. Does anyone up here have comments before I open it up to public?
I'd like to see us take more time with it before we look at possibly changing our budget or raising taxes.
Okay.
And I don't want to raise any taxes right now.
And I asked this an opportunity to share things, and I'm not advocating raising them, but I went into, I'm going to say, the state highway information. Bridge inspections for Vermillion County. There's a total of 127 bridges that need repaired or corrective action, 13, which is 10%. Closed is 1, and this is information from 2021, maybe published in 2022. The ratings are good, meets minimum tolerable limits, needs repair or corrective action, and closed. These inspections were from 2021 and 2020. Of the 13 that need repaired or corrective action, 3 of them needs repaired or corrective action sufficiently deficit. County Road 1050 South over Norton Creek, County Road 350 North over Drive Ranch, County Road 200 East over Norton Creek. for one reason or another. So you have a total of 12.
Right.
Are any of those on the federal list for
Well,
replacement?
yes, the way I understand it, the Department of Transportation rated poor by them. So I don't know for sure. I haven't got to study this as much as I wanted. So, but we need to start discussing some of this stuff.
I also think that
Some of this is superstructures and not just, you know.
right.
I guess the way I understand it is deck, superstructure, sub-superstructure, channel protection, culverts, waterways, and all this whole list of engineering terminology. So,
Well, I also think that, you know, if the county moves forward with hiring a county engineer along with Park County, you know, that project, if that happens, then you're really going to have someone who can manage that and
Right.
come to us with numbers, get estimates, be on that battle front, if you will,
right.
to really help us
Start getting
make
the game
decisions
plan
about it.
together.
You know, so I think, in my opinion, a lot of counties have that same exact scenario. It's a couple hundred bridges, X number are really bad and Y number are sort of bad and Z number is okay. And so no one really has enough money to fix it. So I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable with, you know, if we did happen to raise taxes to increase cumulative bridge funds, which would increase, as Scott pointed out, the overall budget. So that has to come from somewhere else if we increase that. Cumulative capital developments is a different way to do it that doesn't increase the overall budget, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Okay, so
Bridge was in, and
Yes, Cume Bridge would be in, so if you raise Cume Bridge, you're really just taking money away from something else.
right.
yeah.
So we wouldn't necessarily have to-
CCD would be new money, so to speak, but it
Right.
would still be affected by the caps, so it might not be the amount that you would necessarily think it would generate because of the tax caps.
I'd just like to have you know, hopefully we do get a person on board, you know, I think highways reorganizing slightly, or there's some changes there possibly, I don't know that for sure, it's up to the commissioners. But at least somebody who can say, you know, out of those three, I really need to do this one, those two can wait a few years, we can save up for that. I just don't know those answers. It's one thing to have the report, it's another thing to have somebody give their professional opinion about what to do with it. We just don't have that right now.
Right.
Without
We still
going to
lack
consult,
information. I agree.
our bridge inspectors, you know, that's a consulting engineering firm that provided those reports to the state. We're required to do that every 2 years. And, you know, that's their opinion, and it's probably right. I mean,
Right.
I don't doubt them at all. But, you know, how do we handle it? That's where I'd like to see if maybe we can get that information before we raise taxes on people, because I mean, you know, it's an old cliche, the times are tough, you know, people are
But
dying
even
out
if
there
we
for-
pass this resolution to potentially raise
Right.
them, doesn't mean that we raise them until we go through the budget process.
right.
Right.
So I'm just
You're
saying,
looking
if
at-
we do nothing tonight, we don't have any opportunities later. But if we
A
do
year
something
later.
tonight, we can.
I mean, it'd be a 1 year from now, or it'd be next April or something of that nature.
You would be raising them for the 25.
Yes, but I'm
Yeah.
saying we can't do any, if we don't do anything tonight, we don't discuss it again until next April, in which we go through the same process again for 25.
To some degree.
Right
yeah,
now, we're
right,
going
to
through the
some
process
degree,
for
I guess you'd
24,
be-
so.
Right, I guess you'd be looking,
We could discuss it,
Maybe
but
at
it can't be
24,
passed
yes.
until for the
Right.
25 tax year.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the way it was laid out to us when Scott brought this to our attention, and I'm referring to the council's attorney, Scott Craig, it was brought to our attention that, you know, action needed to be taken promptly to meet deadlines.
Right.
And so if we start on it next year, we might start a little earlier discussing it, so we're not into, you know, constraints with the deadlines that we are now.
That, as for now, we can move money to Cume Bridge, though, ARP.
Yeah, I mean, we can
and other
transfer
I
money
mean,
from general fund,
yeah.
ARP, whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
If that's what needs to be done, I mean, I don't think anybody in the county wants
Right.
a bridge that's collapsed and closed for years and unusable. But by the same token, it's a huge, huge asset management issue that requires multiple millions of dollars that we don't have. So it's definitely pros and cons, definitely.
This is the public hearing, so if there's anyone in the public tonight that would like to come up and speak about it, you are more than welcome to take the podium and state your name. If there's any concerns or questions. If you'll just come up here for us, we can all make sure we hear you.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm Vicki Ellis. I'm the Clinton Township trustee. And I'm here concerning the public safety money that we receive. And, you know, I appreciate it very much. But we received that March the 1st. And I deposited that into the bank. Then you have to do an additional appropriation for that. And advertise it in the paper, have a public hearing. And I did all of that. Sent it to the DLGF and it was approved. Well then, May the 1st, I received an email from the auditor's office saying that they accidentally sent me a payment of $100,000 and that it was supposed to be $50,000. And so they want me to, and I have no problem with it, but the payment should have only been $50,000 and that I need to correct this matter and send a check back. And that's okay, but you know, I've done all this work and everything, and then it's went to the DLGF. It's in my checking account for the Clinton Township Trustee's office. It's for the Black Diamond Fire Department. But I mean, I don't know how somebody can accidentally send you $50,000 extra and then not catch it for 2 months before they do anything about it. And I mean, I could have spent it and then have to figure out how to come up with $50,000 out of my budget that I don't, you know, our fire department doesn't get that much in their fund anyway, but you know, it would have been a problem for me to try to figure out where to come up with $50,000 to mail back to them. But I mean, I have no problem. I mean, that's not what I'm here for. I just don't know how someone can accidentally send that much money and not catch it for 2 months.
I don't know exactly the circumstances of what happened on that one. I do know we budgeted $50,000 for each fire department.
Well,
and so I don't know if maybe 2 checks got sent to one department.
It did.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So I inadvertently, evidently, 2 of them went to Black Diamond instead of one to you and someone else.
Yeah.
Who didn't get one?
That's going to be that.
Because
Yeah,
Clinton City advised me the other day they were looking for one.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's Clinton City's.
Clinton Township, Clinton City.
Okay.
I went to Clinton. Okay.
Clinton City went to Clinton.
To make Clintons.
But I have to find out from the DLGF or the State Board of Accounts how I take the money back out of my funds to send back to them. I can't just take $50,000 out of my checking account and send it back to them without, you know, all I have is this email saying that they accidentally sent it to me.
I don't have the answer for the DLGF process. I don't know. That,
I don't know, but I can't just take $50,000 out of my checking account. I have to have some reason.
do you have a
Have to
contact?
explain why it's
Okay.
not there.
Need to probably work with
Brenda said she can send you a contact information
Okay.
so we can figure out how to get
All
that
right.
remedied.
All right. Well, the reason I didn't question it is because my fire chief did tell me that he put in for $100,000. So, and I know we always get $50,000. So, you know, it was kind of a surprise when I did get it. But I was, you know, I just wish they would let me know before I did all this paperwork and everything.
I
But I
apologize
just
for the
wanted to bring it to
mishap, but-
someone's attention.
I mean, we do apologize for the mishap, but
Well,
sorry.
I
it
appreciate
did
the $50,000 that we get because we really need it in
get,
for our fire department. But yeah, but I just had to figure out how to do that back. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's okay. It's all right. We got that one. Is there any additional comments regarding the fundraise for King Bridge or community development? Okay. Well, any kind of action tonight when we need an emotion and a second, or we do have the option not to do anything, so it is your preference if anyone has an opinion or a direction they'd like to go.
Well, if we're trying to meet a deadline, we don't have to raise the taxes.
Correct.
But if you need it, if we can't find it through budget process, you have to do something by not passing it to kind of mess yourself up later.
Yes and no. As Neil mentioned, we do have some other sources right now that we can access if we want to look at budgets better or planning or actual needs. Luckily, we do have those kind of reserves right now, so we're not necessarily under a crunch. But yes, I mean, if we wouldn't be able to access these funds for additional amounts.
Yeah.
What's the current cumulative bridge amount for this year that they have? Is that on this?
Yeah, the
It's the end of
levy,
22.
the levy is 0.3710 is the current levy, and your balance, well, I don't know what the 23, but the balance as of December 31 was $790,000. That's just 12/31 of 22.
And that wouldn't include any of the receipts that we've gotten for 23.
Now, I guess a question for Brenda. Any of the crossings grant, is that any of that money transferred into here? I mean,
It's probably all for paving.
Mm-hmm.
no.
No, it can be used on bridges.
No, I'm just saying they've probably applied for paving only.
The last one was for bridge.
Was it?
The
Okay.
one we got
Which
at the
one
end
was
of
that?
22.
I'm sorry?
The one we got at the end of 22 was for the bridge up north. 23, the application I think this year is not for bridges.
Correct.
Which they did get awarded. The one that was recently awarded was for the bridge?
Mm-hmm. The most recent one awarded.
Okay.
Well, we got it was 300 and some odd thousand for the bridge, and then we just got 900 and something.
Oh, okay.
Have they done 23 already? Oh, I missed that one, sorry.
That's the one I was thinking.
Not
It's
the most
just
recent
strictly for pavement preservation for this recent round.
Yes.
Not that you could only apply for that, but that's what we applied for, as
So-
far as Vermillion County,
so-
we.
So with that rate, what we, and correct me if I'm wrong, what we so-called receive to receipt for is $340,000 a year? I mean, I think Scott provided that in his letter. The levy amount that we currently assess only brings in $340,000 into the account. Right. So, I mean, it's maybe a third of a bridge.
Yeah, unless some of them are on federal aid routes, which kind of kicked them into a process
Yeah.
where we only have to pay
So
20% of, but I don't know if any of those are or not.
So what we're paying for as taxpayers is $37.10 per
I believe
thousand, is that right?
the $1 million one you mentioned that's in need of repair.
Yeah.
I believe that one is on the federal list because we usually keep $200,000 back in the budget for that one when that one comes up on the list. So that one we have the 20% match set back for.
Up to $1 million repair or
Mhm.
replacement.
As far as the other ones, I know they added a bridge last year to the list. I don't know which one it is.
Bridge 37, I could be wrong.
I mean-
The numbers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know numbers either.
Yeah, I don't want to even mention a number, so, but I know we have at least 2 on the list, but I don't know.
So my whole intent was at least start discussing it and bringing it forward instead of forgetting about it and not doing anything. We need to start working with the commissioners on trying to maintain these bridges
Yeah, I mean, they're
as a
probably
team.
deteriorating at a rate higher than they're being
Right.
repaired.
Yeah, I mean, this one bridge was built in 1910 and last repaired in 1970. So according to this figures here. So, I mean, 50 years and not anything done with that. Going back and looking at some of those, there's a lot of them that way. So, of those 12 that I'm talking about. But there's, in my mind, there's 29 bridges that need to be looked at compared or to the total of 100 plus bridges. So, significant amount.
Well, that's kind of where I'm hoping that someone could come up with a plan to say, we need X dollars a year for the next 10 years to do this, and this is the plan. And then we vote, to fund that.
5 years.
Otherwise, we're kind of looking at what's the target goal
Yeah,
here?
even a
Is it to
25-year
raise, just to
plan.
raise? I don't want to raise taxes with let's just raise it
Yeah, we need
to
to
some
plan before we
amount that gives
raise.
us more money. Well, is that even not enough? Should we do the max? Can we do the max? Do the taxpayers demand that, or do they not want that? That's kind of where I'm at.
If we went to the max, it's too significant in my mind. I mean, you're going from $37 to $100. That's a
Right.
huge jump.
For 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that an engineer would provide the county with would be looking at, there are certain types of repairs that you can do to bridges that renovate them that don't require full replacement. If it's, rehab, major rehabs, maybe just leave the foundation but do the top part, not a complete replacement, which can save a lot of money, maybe. So those are, things that can be, we just don't know those answers. And
Now that be considered superstructure or
superstructure is your
sub-super-
part you drive on.
Yeah.
Everything
Or is
that holds that up in the air is substructure.
Okay, so what I seen here, as far as the category, it says deck, and then superstructure, and then sub-superstructure. So I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm a bean counter.
So I see there's consensus that we do need conversation and discussion
Yes.
about a program for the bridges. However, is there any action that we want to take tonight? Any motion for the fund rates?
I'd like to table it myself. Think about it a little bit more.
I'll second that.
Is it open for discussion?
Yes, I got a motion and a second.
If we table it, we're effectively saying we're not going to revisit again till next year.
Or ever. I mean,
Right,
kind
but
of up to the discretion of. if
But I mean, we
bring it-
can bring it back up, even if you say we're not going to do anything, no action. Then next spring, this council could review it and bring it up ourselves. We don't need anyone to bring it up for us. By tabling it, though, we're not going to get anything done this year.
No, it wouldn't go into effect for 24.
But tabling it at least still says
We
we're
can
interested
discuss it.
in discussion on this.
But as far as needing money or hoping to have money, we push that out to 25 or
Right.
26.
It'd be 25 at the earliest.
So I'm saying either doing nothing or tabling it will do that, because we won't meet the deadline requirements to get this done in time according to
Yes.
information received.
That's correct.
Okay.
I think we're spending too much money on inspections myself.
Okay. So I have a motion for Mr. Somerville and a second for Mr. Brown to table the cumulative fund reestablishment fund rates. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no.
I abstain.
Okay.
Abstain.
All right. So the fund rate discussion has been tabled. That is the end of our agenda for this evening. Is there any public comment tonight?
Good evening.
I'm Lori Bauslog from Purdue Extension, Vermilion County. I'm a County Extension Director. As you are likely aware, we've had a vacancy in our office since mid-November with the retirement of Becky Holbert. I am happy to bring good news that we have someone who will begin in the 4-H Youth Development Educator position on May 22nd. So I just wanted to bring that good news to you.
Thank you.
this
Appreciate
evening.
that.
Thank
Look forward
you.
to meeting them.
We appreciate your
Thank you.
support.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Lori, what are the fair dates this year?
June 10 through 17.
June 10th through 17th. Thank you. All right. Is there any other public comment this evening? All right. With none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
All right. I have a motion from Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
With a motion and a second. All those in favor? Who wants to go
Aye.
home? All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending.